Hi, everyone. I just wanted to share some of my thoughts from this week on the textbook readings of chapter 5 and 6 and the Thoughtful podcast episode with Mike Shook and the guest Sydney Shaw. So, my understanding of how culture, humility, culture awareness, and social justice are important in the counseling profession is that it's important for us to be aware of these things, but we don't have to be perfect and we don't have to know everything. We can learn a lot from our clients, but we can also educate and self reflect and really be aware of microaggressions that we may have. In the Thoughtful podcast episode, Sydney Shaw and Mike Shook spoke on a variety of different issues, and they spoke on the stance of humility is by acknowledging that we're coming from a place of bias, and that's the only way that we can begin to be humble, which I thought was really cool. My understanding of the ethical principles of culture humility, culture awareness, and advocacy and social justice. The textbook readings, specifically in Chapter 5, spoke a lot about the ACA Code of Ethics and how the Code of Ethics have different principles that define how we as counselors need to act in towards culture awareness towards our clients, as well as culture, humility, and social justice. And the AACC also identifies 7 biblical ethical foundations as well as the Christian Association for um, Psychological Studies. They listed 7 different biblical principles as well for Christian values guiding ethical principles. One verse that stood out to me, there was actually a couple as I was trying to choose, was the Bible talks a lot about how it speaks a lot about nations, so it's like the concept of everybody being united. And one of my favorite ones, I listed a couple because I love them all, but the rich and the poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all. Proverbs 22:2. And then all people will come from east and west, from north and south, and recline at the table of the kingdom of God. Luke 13:29. And then just like a quote that I thought really went well with this and the importance of culture awareness. Justice from Diffusing Dignity book says justice is present when we collectively see each other as persons who are fully human, uniquely created, and worthy of affection and affirmation. I just thought that was a really good quote and something as counselors that we can really dig into and look into when we are with our clients. A couple actions that I will take to develop and demonstrate culture humility with my clients. I will educate myself through reading and also through experiences, as they spoke about in the podcast. Um, I will specifically engage and educate myself on issues related to the clients that I'm working with. So Mike Shook on the podcast talked about how a lot of his clients were really interested in dream interpretation and dream work, and he didn't know a lot about that. And so, like, an example is he then went and educated himself and really dug into dream work so that he was better able to serve his clients. Some other actions that I plan to take to demonstrate culture humility are self-reflection, self-assessment, and self-reflection. I can engage and dig into my own lack of awareness and places that I need to learn more and grow. And also another thing I can do is um, get advice or feedback from other people because they spoke on the podcast and in the textbook about how sometimes we're biased towards ourselves, and having another eye or someone else kind of lean in and tell us what they see can be really helpful. An action I will take to advocate and engage in social justice for client populations is really just speaking up for my clients and speaking up and standing up for others who are being mistreated. I can intervene on behalf of my clients at the interpersonal level or the institutional level as well. Thank you.